Sickle cell disease (SCD) is an inherited condition caused by abnormal hemoglobin that damages and deforms the gene in the red blood cell, and thus results in a person becoming anemic. Hemoglobin SS, SC, SB plus beta, and SB0 or beta 0 are the four main types of sickle cell anemia that causes different mutations in the genes. A person will be born with sickle cell disease only if two of these genes are inherited, meaning one from the mother and another from the father. A person who inherits just one is healthy and not anemic, but said to be a carrier of the disease. But a person who has both is said to be sickle cell anemic or has the sickle cell trait, commonly known as SS.
Also, it can be fatal. So we have different types of sickle. So you may hear that we would say someone is sickling positive. That alone is not enough. You can be positive but be a carrier. We have AS, we have AC, but the sickle cell disease SS, which is also known as sickle cell anemia, and then we have SC, we have beta thalassemia, and then we have another type called hemoglobin C disease, which is a mild hemolytic disease. So especially the sickle cell anemia and the SS, they can be very fatal, especially the SS. The function of the red blood cells is to carry oxygen to the vital parts of the body, and so if there is a problem with the blood cell, that means carrying oxygen to these parts of the body will be affected, and so these organs are going to be so almost all parts of the body, so from the brain to the legs, both of them need transfusion most of the time, because the defect in the blood cells causes it to die literally earlier than the normal blood cells. So most of the time they need blood, and all these become a burden and has a lot of complication on itself. If there's no intervention, these complications can cause a lot of issues in children with sickle cell.
Periodic episodes of extreme pain are a major symptom of sickle cell anemia. This condition can cause organ damage, stroke, and even death. However, doctors say people with sickle cell anemia can live normal lives if they stay healthy, hydrated, and with moderate exercising per their strength. They say it is not a death sentence.
We have interventions for people, and we have a lot of people to show that these people have sickle cell, but they are living a normal life. So it's not a death sentence, and people, when they are diagnosed with sickle cell, should be able to understand what the condition is all about, the follow-up clinics, and then the intervention given to them, the medication should be able to follow. And then with that, we should be able to have a normal life without much complications, without much issues.
In Africa, sickle cell disease (SCD) is a major public health problem with over 200,000 babies born per year with the condition. In Ghana, approximately 15,000 people, representing 2% of Ghanaian newborns, are diagnosed with SCD annually. From studies, most people with sickle cell disease in Ghana often go undiagnosed until age 4 and during a pain crisis. These findings reflect the importance of newborn screening programs, which are lacking throughout the country. For this reason, the 2-year study being conducted by researchers at the Navrongo Health Research Centre in the Upper East region for the Kassena Nankana District is to help identify the sickle cell status of children from age 0 instead of 6 months, as it has been the case all along. A screening of the blood sample is done after a parent's consent using the gazelle that gives results within 8 minutes.
With the usual screen we used to do, or the HB electrophoresis, mostly it's as and when these children are sick, or as and when they come to the hospital, and mostly detect children from 6 months because of what we call fetal hemoglobin, and so we're able to only detect after 6 months. But this gazelle point of care testing is able to detect from day 0 to any age, even though we are screening children under 5. So the screening is done in about 10 communities in the Kassena Nankana District. We have Chana, Kologo, Navrongo Health Centre, Mayoro, Kassena Nankana East. We also do the screening at the War Memorial Hospital as well. So every newborn and then children coming for postnatal clinic are screened. Those who are positive, or those whose genotype shows SS or SC are referred to the sickle cell clinic at the War Memorial Hospital. At the clinic, we also do a confirmatory testing with what we call sickle scan. So those who are SS, who are confirmed to be the SS or SC, or even beta thalassemia, they are enrolled into the clinic and then started on testing medications as well, and then the counseling. This project has come a long way to help, because before we started the clinic was started early this year. It was there, but it was reactivated this year. Before we started the clinic, we went to the communities and then various clinics to also get some patients that has already been tested or diagnosed already, and then enroll them to the clinic. We went to their homes. Unfortunately, there were some that we followed up to see that we had lost those children earlier, which was unfortunate. So this is going to help a lot, because we'll be able to identify them earlier, not wait for complications to set in for them to come to the hospital before we see them. We're able to detect from birth and then put them into the clinic and then on the necessary medications to help these children live a normal life.
About 10 communities with 6,000 children within the Kassena Nankana District in the Upper East region are expected to be rolled onto the study.
We've tested over 2,000 participants. When we started, the response in the communities was very great. We had a lot of them coming in, telling their other colleagues and people to also come to screen. So we've screened a number of them, and currently we have about 60 to 70 at the clinic who are confirmed sickle cell disease. So with the percentages shows that the burden in the region is quite high. It's because we haven't been doing a routine screening, so we are not able to detect, because we only test as and when they come to the hospital with the complications and we suspect. But then with this routine screening, even in the healthy individuals, and with the number we have screened and the positives we've had, it goes to show that the burden is high. I'm sure by the time we finish the 6,000 or we end the screening, we would have a higher burden, like more than we even think of.
With the high rate of sickle cell patients in the communities within the Kassena Nankana District in the Upper East region, the medical officer for the Sickle Cell Project at the Navrongo Health Research Centre, Dr. Lucio Say Abebio, was optimistic the project will help reduce the disease burden in the region.
But the good thing is that now Novartis has brought a new type of drug which is dispersible, so it can be given to children as early as 9 months when we start them on the hydroxyurea. So with that, it means that all those in the region or who are part of the study and come to the clinic, these babies, these children will not have to travel all the way to Accra or Kumasi, or do not have to pay to wait for the drugs to come. They are able to have access to the dispersible ones, and then the adults also can use, or the older children can use the capsules. Because before we started the clinic, sickle cell patients in the region and then other part of the northern region all go to Accra and Kumasi for clinic and then medications, because we don't have the medication easily available and some testing that needs to be done and the follow-up. So they used to go to Accra, and the hydroxyurea per se come in the form of capsules that it was for older children and then adults. So if your child who cannot swallow the capsule need to take it, they need to do what we call compacting, which had to be done in Kolebu and Konfanoche, and these parents had to pay for it because they need to come by flight, they need to contribute, get money to go and pick up the medication, which lasts them a month to 3 months. They need to pay again. But with the presence of the clinic, the research center has supported us in buying the drugs. Fortunately now, the hydroxyurea, the capsule is on the National Health Insurance, which was done early this year. We'll still appeal if the dispersible ones can also be on the National Health Insurance, so that by the time the project is over, where the sponsors are no more supporting us with this drug, every other child who has sickle cell, whether on the project or not, can have access to the drug, and then they can also live a healthy life.
Stem cell or bone marrow transplants are the only cure for sickle cell disease now, but this is not done very often because of the significant risks involved. Researchers believe outcomes of the Kassena Nankana District study will propel duty bearers and government to further introduce it widely throughout the country to prevent mortality in children under 5 with sickle cell disease.